my amigo. Like niggas in Rio. Got love for my amigo. Offset, take off in Quavo. My amigo, my amigo. My amigo. Like niggas in Rio. Got love for my amigo. Yo, what it did do? It's your boy Pac-Man Rome, aka Man of the Pack. I'm here with Andy at Giraffe Studios.
Hello.
This is Pro Product Media. Andy, what it
I'm
did
a recording studio in Hendersonville, North Carolina. I do all sorts of stuff. Obviously, I do a lot of hip hop. Probably 50-60% of what comes through here is hip hop.
Depending on Asheville too, right?
Huh?
I see a lot of Asheville.
I get Asheville
artists
between
coming
Asheville and Greenville. I get some Greenville too.
That's
yeah,
sweet.
Asheville.
Okay.
You know, maybe Brevard and stuff like that. All the surrounding areas. It just depends. Probably most of my pull is between here and Asheville.
That's what's up.
But I have people that live in South Carolina, like people that grew up here sometimes. I got some people that grew up here, moved away. I got one dude lives in Chicago. He's got family here. Every time he comes down, he'll book a session before he goes on vacation to see his family and come down and make part of an album. He's gonna send. We did all his tracking here. That dude's gonna send his stuff back. We're about to mix that. And there's this other dude that lives out in California, and he still hops back here every once in a while. And if he hops back here, he'll schedule a session. So I got a couple people in different random places like that.
That's cool, man, because you're a cool ass dude too.
Yeah, well,
you know what I'm saying?
I mean, I appreciate that when somebody's like,
for real.
You know, they're coming to see family. They take 2 days out to come here and track some stuff.
That's
I appreciate
respect.
the
That's
shit
love
out of that.
right there.
So, but mostly, you know, I'd say a 50-mile radius is 90% of my work, just in every direction. So,
and like just a few days ago, I believe I saw something about you in a band.
Oh yeah, I play bass for Ross Osteen.
Nice.
It's kind of a blues outfit.
Yeah.
And I really dig it. It's mostly his band and I play bass. And I'm not really a blues guy. Like I have there's a lot of real bad blues out there, but Ross kicks out. Do you know what I'm saying? Some generic. So I even have this weird bias against the blues, but Ross is fucking good. Pardon my French.
Ross from Izzy's.
I don't know. No? He's a red-haired dude my age. We're like the same age and about the same build. He's a little bigger because he actually works out, and I just sit on my ass. Okay. But no, he's a red-haired dude about my age, and he's super good. Check out the Ross Osteen band. He's talented, super good guitarist, amazing voice.
Y'all do recording here a lot?
Well, I just joined the band this year, so most of the stuff you're gonna hear wasn't done by me. And we're in the process of doing some recording here now. But even this album, because of the way my schedule is, you know how my schedule is.
Yeah.
He's gonna do a lot of it at home, and
how do you find time to do all of this?
Right, exactly. So he's actually gonna do a lot of the recording for this album at home, and anything we think is a single, we're gonna do here. But I don't have. I don't have the time for like pet projects. I just don't.
Yeah, do y'all go on tour or?
Oh yeah, well, I mean it's COVID or it's the end of COVID.
Yeah, I know, right? Dealing with that, it's kind of crazy.
So we had some really cool like Chicago and New York and Florida gigs booked for last year, which of course none of them happened.
Yeah.
And everything's starting up again, so we'll see. The drummer books for us, and he's just one of those guys that's just like people find it easy to talk to him, and he's good at that. And I'm so glad because it's a nightmare. I hate booking.
That's sweet.
If you can book, you have a talent that you can charge people for.
Right. That's pretty sweet.
It's so hard to book. But anyway, yeah, so we get like a little bit of far-flung stuff. There won't be like a full tour because that's just not where we are. But like they've played a bunch of places. And it's just been a year. It's been like a year and a half since I've been with so most of COVID and stuff like that.
Sweet. So getting back to the studio thing, like where did you get your inspiration from to like do this?
Oh, I didn't want a real job. I just literally.
Hey, that's a good reason.
Yeah, I've been in bands, of course, my whole life, and I don't know. At one point, I just bought a 4-track recorder. I feel like that's pretty the typical thing. This is like I'm old, right? So this is when you get a tape cassette 4-track recorder and made some awful music in the garage. Yeah. Terrible. If you found that, you could. I would have to pay you money to make it disappear. And But it was fun, of course. And then I just sort of arbitrarily, I was like, well, I want to go to school for that. So I went to this little place in Tempe, Arizona called the Conservatory of Arts and Sciences.
Yeah.
It's just a recording, like producing school, kind of like a tech college. And I went there, and that was fine. I don't know, it's one of those things, I think you could skip that process, but it did help with like knowing what things are for and what things do. And then an internship in upstate New York at this Clubhouse Studios, which is this studio north of New York City, kind of near Woodstock. That's a beautiful studio, and that was cool. And then I just came home and I just started working. I landed this weird job at a studio. Of course, I'm working part-time or other jobs this whole time. I landed this weird job at a studio. Somebody called Lone Wolf Studios. Was just more of a personal studio than anything. We did a little bit of other people's stuff, but I was early. I was not that good. But I just landed on an opportunity to work there, and I did that for a while and started buying my own gear, and that kind of fell apart because the people that owned it were nuts and just had no idea what they were doing. But it gave me a little more work experience solo, not just at somebody else's place, and I started booking my own work. And man,
build your own studio.
Yeah, it took a long time to get enough clientele to be full time. I'm talking like 10, 15 years of just like little moving forward.
That long?
Oh yeah. To get full time it did.
Okay.
I mean, I've been working part time for 20 years. It's just how much of that. Oh yeah, I've been doing this a while. But it took that long to build it.
I mean, I could tell, man. You fucking whiz with this.
And I literally built this.
Make it look like magic.
Studio? Yeah, I get that a lot. I'm quick. I'm quick.
Mixing this shit.
I've been using Pro Tools for 20 years, so just like the function of Pro Tools itself, that program, I'm very comfortable with. They're all the same. Everybody wants to know which one's the best one. They're all the same. It's just the one you know how to use, the one you're comfortable with, that's the good one. Use that one.
That's what's
up.
But
I had Pro Tools for like 20 years. If you put me in something else, I'd have to book a week off.
Yeah.
I'd feel funny. I'd be like...
Do you get any time off, though? Like,
I work 6 days a week. I work 6 days a week. As a matter of fact, it is a problem with my wife.
Damn.
So I take... if I want to stay married, I take one weekend day off a week and one evening off a week. But there's days, I had a week last week where I worked 3 13s. It was killer.
Damn.
I'm just in a very busy spot right now. And that'll loosen up a little bit, right? It comes and it goes. But right now I'm super busy. I can't wait for it to back up a little bit. But I don't know if you're anybody that's self-employed, you know this thing. You're either like too busy or you're scared shitless. Those are the two phases. Okay. You're either working way the hell too much or you're like, is this the end? And it hasn't been so far, but it's just, I don't know. It's just one of those things you don't always know where your next job's coming. And then it appears and you're fine. I never get to the point where I don't have too many days off I want. Yeah. Like, if I get down to 5 days a week, I'm fine. But I usually don't even get there anymore with no sessions. If I get to 4 days a week, I'd start to worry, but I haven't voluntarily worked less than 5 to 6 days a week in years.
To do this so much, you gotta love what you do, right?
Yeah, well, it's just not a good way to make money. It's not. Like, it's not a good way. It's a terrible way to make money. Most recording studios fail or just never even get close. Most people never get past it. Why is that? It's just, there's a lot of competition. It's a different world, right? And it's just a lot of competition. It's kind of, you got to go real far back. So back in the 80s and up to the 90s, stuff was really expensive. Like, equipment was literally prohibitively expensive. Yeah. So even just to buy a good signal chain, if you wanted even just to do hip hop, you need one good mic pre, some good conversion, and a good microphone. That's really all you need. Of course, back then you needed a compressor too, and it'd be but everything was more expensive. This is before China made everything cheap, and I still none of my gear is actually from China. But that's what makes it accessible to the home user, is this hyper cheap stuff. So and it's not all that good, but it's fine. Just a cheap setup, cheap setup would have been $1,500 for pretty low end stuff, and that would have been the 80s or early 90s. With $1,500, if I don't know, you just go on the inflation calculator thing. It was a lot of money. It was worth your time every time. There is no reason you wouldn't go to a studio. It was worth your time every time. There's no reason you wouldn't go to a studio and rent studio time.
Yeah.
Because even crap was prohibitively expensive. And then tape machines are giant. They break all the time. You have to know how to like maintain them. That everything was on a board. Those boards are massive and like genuinely expensive. Not anymore.
How do you run all of those?
It's, you know what? The thing about a board,
knobs and
a board is like every time there's a channel, it's just like it's ins and outs, an EQ section, maybe some other BS, whatever, and then a couple faders. And then next to it is the exact same thing and the exact same thing. So it looks like 1,000 knobs, but it just does one thing 1,000 times.
Damn.
Right?
Okay.
So it's way more knobs. You only need to know what about 10 of those knobs do, and then it's just one channel for each thing. It's not that big a deal. It looks real intimidating.
It does.
Anyway, so China started making all that cheap stuff, which is inferior, but for the money, kind of amazing. Like straight up, for the money, it's really good. So the cost of like the gear went down, and then computers got to the point where you could record to computers instead of tape. Those tape machines are super cumbersome. They're massive. They're really expensive. They break all the time and require constant maintenance. Actually, they're a giant pain in the ass. So you take that whole thing out of the equation. Now you can do it with a computer. The board, you take that 90% of that board, you need preamps. Out of the equation, you can do that in the computer. So you have, even if you're buying a nice computer, you're dropping $2,000 in 2020 bucks, which is not, I mean, look, I'm not going to do it by accident, but it's reasonable for what you're getting. So you took this setup where just a small portion of the setup was probably $3,000 in now dollars, and if you were buying crap, and now you can get like a junk computer for $400, a junk mic for $100, and like a junk interface if you want to go used, probably $80 for one of those little Focusrite Red 2-channel dealies that everybody has.
Yeah.
How much are you in for a whole thing? And if all you do is hip hop, that's all you need. And the mic's kind of junk and the preamp's kind of junk. But it's not so bad you can't make it work if you have to, right? If you got all that and people hate your crap, well, maybe your mix is bad.
Yeah.
But usually the problem is with the art, right? The art that's good enough that if the stuff is good enough that if the art is good, I shouldn't be saying this, if the art is good, the art can overcome the limitations of the quality of stuff you're getting at that level.
That's facts.
Because because that's the only thing that fucking matters. It's not the only thing that matters, but like it matters so much more than everything else. That the art is good, that you can overcome those limitations if your art is good enough.
Right.
And if you're doing this shit at home, you can spend a half a year fucking mixing it. So these barriers to entry, which when you add the board and the tape machine, you're talking about like tens of thousands of dollars at a minimum, all used low-end stuff. You're talking about tens of thousands of dollars back in the day minimum, just as an entry fee, just to get started, and that's way different now. Now you're talking about like $1,000 entry fee. Well, if you're really kind of scratching the bottom of the barrel, $1,000. You'd have to be buying pretty harshly cheap junk at that point, but the point is, even the worst of it, if you're just a little careful, is not going to be so bad that if the music doesn't kick ass, you can't overcome that, right? Or you send it off to mix if you don't really know what you're doing, and somebody like me can clean it up to the point that even if it was pretty bad, you can kind of like fake your way into sounding like you were going for a thing. Right? Does that make sense? It might not sound like $1 million because sometimes you just can't get there from where you are, but you can make it sound like you were intentionally going for a thing. And that's kind of what you do when you have something really bad. You just say, well, this isn't going to sound good, but I'm going to make it sound weird in a fun way, or I'm going to try. Yeah. So that's why it's a hard business, because you have to convince people that what you're charging is worth more than their own time. If they have the free time, or they just don't want the know-how, or they need your production expertise, that's what they're paying for. Because most people that come to me, they're interested in the process, but what they just want is results without headache. It's like why I hire a guy to redo my floor. I can fucking put floor down, but I don't fucking want to. Right? You know what? And I want it done one time in a short amount of time, and I want it done right.
Facts.
So that's why I can put. So you become that sort of thing that people could do at home, but they want the premium service, or they want the help, or they just don't even want the headache. They just want the results. And so that's kind of it. You're competing with people at their own home. And what was one other thing I was trying to remember to get to about that? Whatever. It's time. It's time and money. If you got the time and you need much less money, you can do it.
Well, why don't you let them know how much you charge an hour? And
I'm $30 an hour with a 2-hour minimum. Got a 3-room studio and some nice gear.
And the sound is superior.
No, thank you. I appreciate that.
Top of the line.
My primary mic right now is a Bronner Panthera. That's my main kind of mic I use on hip hop and stuff, and that's a handmade German thing. It's about $2,400 new, and I start there, and I got decking and API and MA5, some good preamps and stuff. So real nice chain, a little bit of outboard gear and stuff like that. So stuff that like the signal chain here, just the chain. Forget all the rooms and stuff, because God, nothing's more expensive than space, I swear.
So if I wanted some studio time, how can I get in touch with you?
Just after I get done telling everybody how they could do this at home if they just had the patience.
Yeah.
It's true though. What are you gonna do? You can't lie to motherfuckers. You can Giraffe Studio. Just giggle it. STUDIO.
Okay.
No S. GIRAFFE. STUDIO.
Okay.
It'll come right up. I'm in Hendersonville, and you can click the link through there. It'll have a map and everything like that.
That's what's up.
And my ass will rattle on all day. You got any other questions?
Nah, man. I was just listening. So
all right.
I was just making sure I got out what I needed to get out, and make sure I got from what I needed to get. So.
Well, I've been doing this a while. I like to think that I help things move quickly, and people get to enjoy their experience as opposed to being frustrated with trying to make things work and not getting the results they want. I'm here to make that part easy, really.
Which you do.
So, thank you. Thank you.
You're very appreciated. Definitely in Asheville.
Yeah. Yeah, much love.
And with BloodLine Fam as well.
I'm very lucky to do what I do. I mean, I spent a lot of years trying to get here, don't get me wrong. But yeah, I'm a lucky boy.
Can I get a shout out to Pro Product Media?
Oh yeah, man. Shout out to Pro Product Media in Asheville. Thank you. It was a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to see you.
No, appreciate you, man.
Like niggas in Rio, got love for my nigga. I said take off the Quavo. My migo. Like niggas in Rio, got love for my nigga.